I don't know if you seen those 20 those pop the balloon things, right?
Oh
That it with
yeah,
the girls thing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think Sean, I've been sending you the clips. I don't know if you watched
yeah,
them. Where
yeah.
homie came out with the big chains on, and he was talking about he
Mm,
got private jets and stuff and all that, right?
hmm.
So did you watch those? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, I've seen so many, but I don't know if I saw this specific one. Do you have it or?
I don't
Can
have it.
you pull up the
Oh,
clip?
Well, this is different. I gotta describe what's
oh,
going on here. So
Mm.
this guy was a contestant on the show. He came on there bragging about he got a private jet, a yacht,
Mm.
all this stuff. Now he don't know. Like he was wearing like the most obnoxious. Like he had big chains on, and he was wearing like I could tell his shoes were fake because they weren't. They were like Louis Vuitton print sneakers. They had big laces in them and stuff. But I was like, those are custom
Mm.
made. And they're probably off of like whatever. But he was
Timu.
yeah, something like that. But he was very stereotypical hood black dude flaunting his money, right? Talking
Mm.
about money falling out of his pocket, all this stuff. Turn off all the chicks. They like, oh, you was you could watch it later, but he was saying, like, oh, you ever been on a private jet before? And that's when all the girls started popping their balloon, like, nah, you're lying.
mm.
And then they had like how like they do with Real Housewives, where they have the reunion show or whatever. So they did like a reunion show. He came back on there talking about all this stuff, and then they showed him. He gave him a clip of him getting out of a helicopter. Okay, so it was a tiny little helicopter, a two-seater, and it was on a platform. And he walked off the helicopter. I was like, everybody was like, "Nah, that's staged. You're just walking off some helicopter that's already like." They were all laughing at
Yeah.
him, and then they were like going through his social media, and they were like, "That is a private that you're in the private jet, but that's clearly like there's this famous private jet rental stage where you could just it just
Oh
looks like
yeah.
it's in the interior of a private jet."
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
took pictures there, and he was like, "Whatever." And
Mm.
and he admitted he's like, "Oh yeah, that day I didn't have my jet was in the shop or some shit." He said he's
Oh
like
yeah.
living this life. So this woman kind of did a breakdown on social media about this type of guy and who he attracts, and specifically talking about black people because it's kind of funny because it's like it shows like the three different categories, like the bad and bougie girls versus the proper girls who wants this man and that man. I thought it was hilarious, but it did give me some perspective of like where like culturally the divide is, and it's kind of weird. So like these, and I'm gonna say this before I get into it. Like it kind of is like
Mm.
how there's middle class white people, rich white people, and then like rednecks, right? And then it's like black people, it's like ghetto black people, middle class black people, and then rich black people. And then like, but everybody, it's like two extremes. Like anybody who crosses over the poverty line who's black does not want anything to do with that hood shit. But like somewhere in the middle, like it's just weird. But like you'll see, this is funny. This is so funny. I thought it was like the funniest shit, most relatable shit I seen all day. But it was
Mm.
like a funny little clip. Let me see if I can. I'll pop. Let me see. Share this tab instead. Okay. Let's see there. Reload. Bring it up here. There's no sound. I refresh it.
Well, you gotta press the
Video
it's
recently
Oh,
the
went viral with this guy from
there
the
you go.
Pop the Balloon Challenge. He was leading with his money, going really heavy about all the money he got rejected. Everybody was saying, "Oh, you women don't like when you leave with money and stuff like that." It's a way to do everything, and he just needed the right audience. So let's talk about it. Two type of the highest maintenance black girls are the bad and bougie black girls, elegant high class black girls. He would have did excellently with them. Excellent. Trust me, when they act like that, it's for a reason. He would have did really good with the bad and bougie types. The elegant high class types, you can't move like that. The positive for him with that is their maintenance is really similar. They get their nails done, they get their hair done, they get waxes, they get facials, they get their teeth whitening, they get lashes. Their maintenance is very similar. Two completely different.
That is so fucking true, bro.
Mhm.
And lady, it's so true because I never thought of it that way. Because you think like this is two different, like she says, aesthetics.
Yeah.
Aesthetics, though.
Oh,
Two completely different aesthetics. This does not work well with her. If he wants to get a girl more elegant and more class in her, he would have to tone it down. He's going to change his costume a bit. Hit it with this a little bit. And by this, I mean the same, pretty much same thing, but toned down. You see, tuck it in, pull the chains down a little bit. He'll being able to be more fluid with this one. This is giving a whole nother vibe. He's leading, but she would have loved that. Okay, so people keep forgetting that black people are broken up by class. heavily, okay? The suburban blacks versus the hood blacks, two different vibes, okay? Two different aesthetics, okay? So it doesn't matter what car he pull up in. They're not having it, okay? I'm gonna give personal experience. So I have two very opposite sides of the family. One of my group of my family come from this. Other group of my family heavily comes from this, okay? Let me pull out with him and bring him to the family cookout. I promise you, I'm gonna get a call soon as 15 minutes after I leave. Your grandma's in the emergency room. What's going on? Yeah, when you brought Darrell, she smelled the weed on Darrell and she just passed out. And they had to take him to the emergency room to check her lungs. I'd be like, first off, his name is Steven, okay? And second off, he didn't have no weed. Oh, it must have been fentanyl. It must have been fentanyl. It was no fentanyl. Look, JoJo, he can't come. Grandma's going to the emergency room to get checked out. He can't come. My best advice, stay in the middle, okay? You don't want to go full seasonless dweeb, okay? You don't want to do that. You also don't want to go full Ray in them. Right in the middle, give you a lot of fluidity. He could have did a lot better. Last thing I'm going to say, if he wants to leave with money, he has to invite to a high-end restaurant with the higher class. He can't just come out the mouth, oh, I got 30K. No. Invite her to a restaurant and make sure to put that name in it. Make sure to say something you know she know. Tell her the blue duck, something she know, okay?
Blue duck.
Then get the expensive gifts, shopping sprees, those big flower bouquet, you're fine. But okay, so a video recently.
So I was like, yo, that is so true. No, and that's true because like I consider myself in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm not like, but there was a point in my life where I thought that that's what women wanted. Remember? I mean, we were kind of all hanging out. Like always, like I had to have a big car or like jewelry and shit. In college, I bought a fake ass gold chain, which people thought was real, and I wore it all around. And girls like, but I was attracting a certain type of woman, which which at that time I thought was like the only type of woman, just because they were talking to me. And then when I got out of college and then started to understand, you got to dress, especially when I moved to DC, because we were in that era where you had to get dressed up to go out. So we was wearing
wearing a button up.
Oh my God, it was a requirement to go to the club and wear,
unless you knew somebody, you basically had to be. Yeah.
And then we looked at those motherfuckers funny because why are they wearing a baseball cap in here?
Yeah,
he wearing sneakers. What? And now that's like they don't care no more. You go baseball cap backwards, whatever the fuck you want.
It doesn't matter.
But back then you had to wear like a cardigan sweater and a tie and a button up. The jeans. Sometimes it wouldn't even let you in with jeans. Like if you was at the wrong night. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's whatever goes because it's money. But like, I don't know. Like from a female perspective, what is it? You got a boyfriend now, right? So what's the middle? Is he in the middle or is he like a nerd? What is he?
No, he's in the middle. He's in the middle. Yeah, he can't be too preppy. He can't be too hood. Like
that's the thing.
Just right. You know what I'm saying?
But how do you find it? Like, what is the middle is so weird now. Like, I don't know what the like. Is Kai Cenat a nerd because he plays video games and shit? But he don't look like a nerd,
right?
He's the middle.
He's like, considered middle.
Duke Dennis, like any of these guys, these streamer guys, they all love video games and shit. But they're fairly attractive men. Pause. And they all they get. I mean, I've seen the types of women they keep around. Like, all of them. That I Show Speed kid. They loving him. He was in Poland, like pulling these Slavic chicks and shit. I was like, damn. So there is a middle, but like that extreme end. I don't even know if people go for that extreme end like that anymore, right? Do they even?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
You don't see people bigging up like I don't know, like do rappers don't wear chains like that anymore. But like I don't.
I was gonna say unless you're a rapper, that's the only thing.
Unless you're a rapper, but then but they don't always. But look at the types of like Ruby Rose. Are you bringing that home to mom? You know what I mean? Iggy Azalea. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, they play around with it, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be my main.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's levels to the shit. So
and introduce them to the family and shit. You can't bring all that in them chains and shit home. Fentanyl, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Just because there's
it was a good video.
Yeah. It put it into an interesting context because I don't I don't know. I'm so out of touch. No, too many.
Well, you know what's so funny, right? It's all about the relationship someone has with whatever that look is, right? So
Yeah.
back in the day, gangsters used to wear suits, right? So
True.
in Harlem, you used to have the zoot suits and shit. So the hustlers and shit would wear zoot suits, and those was the gangsters, those was the players and shit, right? The mafia, right? Shirt and ties, suits and shit, killing motherfuckers, right? Like,
Yeah.
So we have to be careful, and this is why I always say with hypocrisy, we have to be careful because shit can flip on a dime based on right who's wearing it, right? Zuckerberg got a lot of flack for wearing a hoodie when he first the board meetings. It was a whole big thing.
everybody's
Wall Street
wearing
was
that
like,
shit.
oh my god. Now, right now it's it's status quo, right?
Yeah.
It almost means you're a tech CEO, right? So I think it's a good point that she made. Obviously there's certain stereotypes that certain families don't want to, right, fall victim to you falling victim to.
No, but have you ever dated
But-
like a hood rat looking chick, like with the long nails and?
Well, yeah. When I had a Baltimore
You
joint,
bring it home to your
I had a
mom's?
Baltimore joint. Well, I didn't, so the bringing home to mom thing or bringing home to, I mean, did she meet some girl, something like that? Yeah, but it wasn't like, bring it home. We about to sit down and have dinner. I didn't come up like that. I had a single family
only had
house, single mom. So
two girls that brought home.
So I was just outside, and if I happened to go home because I was grabbing something, yo, mom, this is,
You know what I'm
such
bringing?
and such.
That's
But
more.
it's not bring it home. I don't know what that means. Bring it home.
I mean, like, yeah, but it's even in
Now,
high school.
if you're gonna get married or if you're gonna get engaged or
Yeah.
something. But I think that in those situations, most likely if you're dating someone of that ilk or someone that looks like that, your
Yeah.
family's probably not gonna have much issue with it because that's typically what you date. If you're bringing someone home that looks like
Yeah.
that, right? Like that's not like it would be something consciously you'd be like, man, I never brought somebody home like this. But if you're bringing someone home, then you've probably brought someone home like this before, right? Unless it's you have family that's a racial component, that's a weird thing because I've been in those situations where it's like they never dated X, Y, and Z, so that's different. But as far as like what someone's wearing or dressed like, I think that's been happening for a long time, right? High school, college, right? If people go for that look, then people typically go for that look for their duration of their dating career. It does.
We lost one.
It does.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
did-
Oh no.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting. So I never brought home. I brought home two girls, and one of them was Donica. But I mean, my whatever. But that it's just tough because you don't. As I've gotten older, understanding, both my parents passed away at this point, but it's they expect you to bring home somebody that they think you're going to be with long term, especially college years and all that. In high school and stuff, I dated nothing but white girls. I couldn't be like where I grew up. If they brought me home, no way. Back in the day, nah. I grew up in a white place.
But that's
they
the-
brought
but that's the
black-
thing.
Big old black motherfucker home. Didn't matter if I was dressed with a suit and tie and my dad was a billionaire. I would have been run out that bitch.
But that's the biggest thing, right? As parent, and that's the biggest thing for me is being a parent, which is relatively young, relative to like I said, with other parents in my demographic. But that's the whole thing about it is that you have to be careful with that because generally parents want you to bring home someone that they want you to bring home, that they envision, right, for you, right? It's a whole different thing, not necessarily who's best for you, but to someone they envision for you. Now, qualities and foundational things are supposed to be what they are, right? You're supposed to have that within yourself to know, hey, I don't want somebody that's stepping out or doing blah, 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 someone solid, someone who supports me, someone's had my back. But everything changes because the experience of the person, right, growing up in that, the times are different, the music is different, everything's different, tattoos, people, so everything's different. So 20 years, right, fast forward, things that weren't the norm when we were 20, 22 are the norm, for these kids now. So we have to be careful about looking like this or that because we can become a syndrome of we're lost in the times because we don't understand. And not to say someone should be dressed, bringing gold chains and going to see the family. I think that should always be that kind of respect level. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be
Yeah, you should.
best. Yeah. So I think that shows something, but
I got to tone it down with the fashion and stuff. Like, but now I don't care. Like, now that we're married and stuff, like the family knows me. I could come around with the baggy clothes and the hoodie and the hat, like casually. But I know, like, if I'm going to be around other people in the family, family events, I'm definitely going to put a polo shirt on, put a suit on, whatever I need to do. Yeah, but that's just total. That's just knowing the room, and that's what makes
exactly.
But like you said, you gotta. If you don't know the room or the crowd that you're trying to cater to, and I guess he just wants a hood bro. Like, you got to see this brother's video is hilarious, man. That popped the balloon joint with him in it. All them, everyone. He's talking about, you ever been on a private jet before?
Yeah,
you ever
I have
done
to go.
This?
I have to go back
on my
and
yacht.
watch it.
Fucking funny, man. Fucking funny shit. I want to get Lauren's perspective. We'll give her. Her computer froze up. I gotta ask her some questions. And then we'll close it out. But anything else going on besides? There was a list of. Let me get back on the list real quick so we could at least cover. We call it. The device not add stage. All right, she's back.
Oh, is she back on?
Yeah. It's taking its time. Don't front. Hey, there she is.
Okay. I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
So I was about to put you on the spot. So have you ever dated a Darrell or a Ray Ray?
No, never. That's not my type. I just can't. No.
Yeah. And have you? Well, and then you answer, because we were just talking about all that stuff, like how that whole, like
they've definitely approached me, but it's just not my type.
It's not your type. Not even no consideration for it. Not even if it was like cool. None of that. No. Did you grow up in the suburbs?
I mean, I feel like, yeah.
Okay, that explains.
But not like, yeah, like the picture she showed of the bougie girls. I mean, I was never the bougie type. I'm very down to earth, chill, laid back. So
okay.
But yeah, suburbs.
So you're sort of in the middle then. Are you like the high maintenance?
Yeah.
Are you high maintenance?
No, I'm not very. I'm not.
You don't get.
I'm high maintenance when it comes to I don't get my I just get my toes done. But I'm high maintenance when it comes to my health and everything, like eating good and stuff like that. Yeah. But when it comes to clothing and the latest trends, I just do what I like. Yeah, I follow.
Okay, so you want a little
myself. Yeah,
that's cool. There's people like that. It's just tough.
It's rare.
Yeah. And just being that's kind of normal. But you gotta think people are so in our community specifically, people are so cliquish that is it hard? Especially in DC. You see all them girls on Capitol Hill. If you're not dressed a certain way or look a certain way or notice certain people, you're never gonna be. Well, Sean, you know that. That's that goes for black and white, Asian, whatever. If you're not clicked up with the right people or acting like a robot, you done. So it is what it is. But I'm glad I'm out of that. But I've always, the funny thing is that as Sean and I both 20 years over there, we never had a problem blending into any room, no matter what. I've been I've been to some joints. He let me into. I remember you used to let me into some of your real estate joints.
Oh yeah.
And suit and tie. And I'd be over there with my whatever I was wearing, baseball cap. And I'll be talking these things. The shock of seeing some dude dressed casually. After I open my mouth and talk, people are automatically adjust and become more friendly.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I think that if you're going back to if you're able to articulate yourself in a certain way, and I'm not saying be articulate and well spoken. I'm being more down to earth, because people who are well spoken,
right,
for the most part, are fake. In my opinion, are very how are you doing, sir, ma'am? Just fuck that. I don't do. If you could get people to be, if you could get somebody who's all buttoned up to loosen up, and bring it down to a regular conversation. I think that's regardless of how you look or whatever, that's makes you a more relatable person.
Yeah.
And not off-putting. If I walked into those rooms talking about look at my chains and have you been on a private jet and all this other nonsense, I think everybody, regardless if they've been on a private jet or not, are going to be turned off by that.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
it is what it is. So Darrell or Pookie or whatever his name is here, it's just horrible. Y'all got to watch the video when he was on the pop the balloon, because it wasn't like funny. It was very ironic because he's saying all this crazy stuff and nobody fell for it. Even the girls that you'd think might like it, they were just like, "Nah, you corny."
Yeah.
Like, you too much with all that nonsense. And it's like, but he's trying to attract a particular type of woman. And